Today, I'm going to show and tell you everything you need to know about DEGIRO. I'm also going to be sharing my thoughts and opinions on the platform, having used it for nearly 2 years now. If you've come to this video, you're likely feeling confused, and I know exactly how you feel. But don't worry, you're not alone. Starting off investing for the first time and using a trading platform for the first time can be scary. There's lots of new words that you don't understand, there's charts and numbers all over the screen, and you can't find the answers you're looking for in one place. We're going to fix all of that today. My name is Dan, but you can call me Malone, and let's get into the video. DEGIRO are an online stockbroker who are based in the Netherlands. Their vision as a company is a world in which investing is fully democratized and accessible to everyone taking charge of their own financial future, responsibly and smart. And their mission is to empower people to become the smartest, self-directed investors they can be by creating high quality, cost-effective, transparent and accessible investment platforms and services. Now, most trading platforms these days have very similar goals. It's all about empowering the average Joe with the ability to invest independently and at low cost. The homepage contains lots of useful and important information that nearly every user I know overlooks. The first thing I want you to do when you set up a DEGIRO account, or even before you set one up, is to click on the fees button on the homepage toolbar. From here, you should scroll down and click See Our Fee Schedule. This will open up a PDF which you should save to your PC. Now, this document contains all the information you need to know when it comes to what fees you're being charged for buying and selling different products on DEGIRO's website. For 90% of you watching, the first two tables are all you need to worry about. The first table applies to fees on stocks, and the second table applies to fees on ETFs. Just be aware that the fee charged by DEGIRO when buying or selling stocks is dependent on which stock exchange the stock is listed on. The best way to illustrate this is to use an example. If we go back to the fees page and scroll down, we can see that DEGIRO have provided some examples of the fees associated with certain stocks depending on which stock exchange they're trading on. The first example is Ryanair, which is traded on the Irish Stock Exchange. DEGIRO have assumed that we've bought €10,000 worth of Ryanair stock, and the fee associated with this transaction, as we can see, is €7. Now, if we go back to our PDF, we can see how this is calculated. So for stocks trading on the Irish Stock Exchange, the fee is a flat €2 plus 0.05% of the total value of the transaction. So if we take our flat fee of €2 and add this onto 0.05% of our transaction value of €10,000, we arrive at our fee of €7. Because this is an Irish stock, stamp duty tax at 1% will also apply on the purchase of the stock, which isn't included in this amount. This is why Irish stocks can sometimes be expensive to buy. Let's do another quick example, this time using Tesla stock, which is traded on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in the United States. So in this case, we're buying €5,000 worth of Tesla stock at a price of €500 per share, which means that we're buying 10 shares of Tesla in this transaction. And we can see that DEGIRO are telling us that fees of 54 cents will apply to this purchase. So again, to figure out how this is calculated, we go back to our fees PDF, and we can see that a flat fee of 50 cents is charged, plus $0.004 for each share purchased. So fees on US stocks are actually charged on a per share basis, whereas fees on Irish stocks are charged as a percentage of the total market value of the transaction. We then simply take our flat fee of 50 cents and add this to 10 shares multiplied by $0.004 per share to arrive at our total fee of 54 cents. You can see that DEGIRO have provided a comparison of their fees against some of their competitors, but they've conveniently left out the likes of Trading 212 from this graphic, so I don't really like how they've done that. Just to note as well, there is also this DEGIRO exchange connection fee, which is a €2.50 charge for every stock exchange other than the Irish Stock Exchange that you've used in any given year. The fee is pay per use, so if you don't use a particular stock exchange, then you won't be charged the fee for that exchange. This charge only happens once a year, so it doesn't matter how many times you've used an exchange, it's just the fact that you've used it which matters. So for example, if you've bought 1 share of Tesla on the Nasdaq and another person has bought 500 shares of Tesla on the Nasdaq, you will both have the same €2.50 charge at the end of the year for making use of the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. So heading back to the homepage, let's now click on Markets in the toolbar. There is some useful information here about how your buy and sell orders are processed, as well as the types of orders that you can place. But the really useful information is down the bottom here with exchange opening hours and stock market holidays. If we click into exchange opening hours, we'll be able to see all the different open and close times of the different stock exchanges around the world in Irish time. So if we filter for the New York Stock Exchange, we can see that the trading hours for shares is from 2:30 in the afternoon to 9 o'clock in the evening. The stock market holiday section will show you all the various dates when different stock exchanges are closed for business. The last thing I want to show you on the website before we jump into the web trader is in the knowledge section of the toolbar. In here you will find mountains of educational information that DEGIRO have put together. For example, if we click the products and strategy submenus, we can see that there's educational content on all the different investment products that you can invest in on the platform, as well as information on different investing strategies, compound interest, and dollar cost averaging. If you click on Investors Academy and scroll down, you'll see that DEGIRO have prepared 10 investing lessons that will teach you the fundamentals of investing. There's also additional topics down the bottom for those who want to learn more. And on top of all of that, if you click Investing with DEGIRO, you'll see that they prepared some lessons on various aspects of their platform to help you become more familiar with what's going on. So there's tons of information there to help you get started on your investing journey. So that's enough of the homepage. Let's dive into the web trader. So when you log on to your DEGIRO account, this is what you'll see, and you'll be brought straight to the market tab. On the top of the page, you'll see your account information. This information stays visible no matter where you go on the platform, so it isn't unique to just the market tab. I've actually blurred out my account information, and you can do this by clicking the blue icon up here beside portfolio. And the reason I've done this is just because I'm saving my portfolio breakdown for a future video. But this feature is handy if you're using your web trader in public and you don't want anyone looking over your shoulder at your account balance. The balance amount represents the total value of your investments, plus the value of any cash in your account which hasn't been invested yet. The portfolio amount represents the total value of your investments. The euro amount represents the amount of cash in your account which hasn't been invested yet. The available to trade amount will be the same as the euro amount if you have a basic DEGIRO account. But if you've an active account, for example, this amount will show what margin is currently available to you. Margin is effectively money that you can borrow from DEGIRO in order to buy investments. The day plus or minus amount represents the daily gain or daily loss of your investment portfolio. And finally, the total plus or minus amount represents the total gain or loss of your investment portfolio. It's just important to note that these are both unrealized gains and losses, meaning that they haven't become real, so to speak, as you haven't yet sold the investment. So the first thing I'll say about the main market tab is that I ignore virtually all of the information on this page on a daily basis, with the exception of the winners and losers feature here on the right hand side. This allows you to check which stocks in a particular stock market index have performed the best and worst in a given trading day. This really is just for fun. I never actually use this information when I'm investing. I might go and research why a particular stock is featuring in this table on a given day if I'm interested. So for example, if we filter this to the S&P 500, we can see which stocks within the index have performed the best and worst for today's trading day. I think one of the main reasons why I don't use this page is because I use Seeking Alpha for most of my investing news, and in my opinion they present it much nicer, so that's why I stick with them. So how do you actually invest using the web trader? Well, the first and most straightforward way is to come up to the search bar here and type in the name of the company that you're looking for. Let's just use Apple as an example. Now you might notice that there's a couple of different options for Apple here. So far as I'm aware, the first option under shares will always be the main stock exchange where the company you're looking for is traded. So I just always stick to the first option. When we click on Apple, we can see that we're brought to what I like to call the summary page for the stock. Here we can interact with the stock chart to see how Apple has performed over different periods of time. We can change how the chart looks by clicking chart settings and selecting candlestick, for example, as our chart type. We can also click interactive graph, which will bring our stock graph into a new tab where we have more flexibility over what we can do to the graph itself. On the right hand side of the screen, we can see trading information such as bid price and ask price. The bid price is the highest price that a buyer is currently willing to pay for the stock, whereas the ask price is the lowest price that a seller is currently willing to receive for the stock. The distance between these two is known as the bid-ask spread. The current market price for the stock is found below the company name, and the percentage figure beside the stock price indicates by what percentage the stock has increased or decreased in price since the last trading day. So if we scroll down, we can see that live news updates relating to the stock are provided, as well as information around upcoming dividend payments and earnings calls. One of my favorite features here is the analyst views chart. This will tell you how stock market analysts feel about the stock at the moment, but it's important to remember that you shouldn't base your decision solely on what analysts are saying. This is just a nice feature to have on top of all your own due diligence and research that you perform. If we wanted to buy some Apple stock, we'd simply click the buy button. Now, when I'm buying stocks, I only use limit orders. What I'll do is I'll look at the current share price, and if I want to invest in the stock, I'll just enter the current share price into the limit box here. And this is me telling DEGIRO that this is the maximum price I'm willing to pay for this stock. You can do market orders as well, which will buy you the stock at the current market price. But I just like setting the limit myself so I know exactly what price I'm buying for. Those are the only two order types I'd use as a long-term investor. You then simply enter the number of shares you want to buy, and DEGIRO will calculate how much this will cost you. I always like to make sure that I have enough cash deposited in my account to afford the purchase before I place the order. The same process applies for selling stocks, except now your limit price will be the minimum price that you want to sell your stock for. When you buy a stock, it will automatically go into your portfolio. Your portfolio will give you a detailed breakdown of the performance of all the stocks that you currently own. If you place an order that hasn't yet been executed, it will appear in this outstanding orders section. When the order gets filled, it will then move to the latest transaction section and will then appear in your portfolio. You'll see here I have my order set to day order. This means that if my order isn't executed or filled by the end of the day, it will expire and no money will leave my account. If I still want to buy the stock, I'd need to log back in tomorrow and place the order again. However, there is an option called good till cancelled, or GTC, where your order will not expire until it is filled. Let's say I was interested in Apple stock and I wanted to keep an eye on it, but I didn't want to have to search it every time I opened up the trading platform. I can click this star icon here and add it to my favorites. Your favorites can then be accessed easily via the toolbar on the left hand side of the page. The other feature I use quite often is the financials feature, which can be found on every stock available on the platform. Here you will be able to see the financial performance of the company over time. You can view the income statement, balance sheet and cash flow statement at the click of a button, and this is very useful and it saves lots of time when analyzing companies. DEGIRO also provide nice comparative graphs that you can interact with. Now, you might be wondering how you can browse stocks without having a particular stock in mind to look at. To do this, we can hover over the products option, hover over shares, hover over the region we want to look at, let's say America, and then select the stock market index we want to look at, let's say the S&P 500. This will then show every stock in the S&P 500 index organized alphabetically. Similarly, if we wanted to view all Irish stocks, we'd repeat the same process, but this time select our region as Ireland. One of the most popular products among investors are exchange traded funds, or ETFs. In order to view the ETFs available, hover over products and select trackers ETFs. I personally like to make use of DEGIRO's commission-free ETFs, and in order to view these, you simply filter the ETF type to trackers free. There are terms and conditions for making use of the commission-free products, and I'll leave a link to that document in the description. If you wanted to invest in the likes of the commission-free Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, you'd simply filter the provider to Vanguard and select the S&P 500. The last thing to point out about the web trader is that if you hover over activity, this is where you'll find all of your transaction history data, including buys, sales, dividends received, etc, etc. And you'll also find a list of summary reports that DEGIRO provides you with, which can be useful for tax purposes. So just to give my overall thoughts and opinions on DEGIRO as a trading platform. Obviously, DEGIRO's main selling point is that they are low cost, which is fantastic for investors who are looking to keep their costs in check and maximize their investment returns over the long term. But of course, this is industry standard these days. You have the likes of Trading 212 who are doing the exact same thing. As we've seen at the start of the video, DEGIRO have lots of free educational content available on their website, which is fantastic for beginner investors who are trying to figure out what investing is all about, the fundamentals, and just trying to come to terms with how to use DEGIRO's platform. In terms of the platform itself, the actual web trader, Once you've figured out how to use it, it's fine, but for a beginner investor, as we'll talk about in a minute, it can be kind of tricky to get the hang of. The other thing that DEGIRO are good at are those summary reports that they provide you at the end of the year, which are great for seeing how your portfolio performed over the course of the year, as well as any tax considerations you may have around dividend income received or capital gains realized on the sale of the likes of shares. However, as I mentioned in the video, the one thing that I really do not like about DEGIRO's platform is that market page on the actual web trader. Now, I understand what they're trying to achieve. They want to have news stories, index performance, winners and losers all in one place, and I get that. But in my opinion, there's just far too much going on here, and it's really hard to kind of tell what you should and shouldn't be focusing on and what information is important and not important, especially for a beginner investor. And for someone who has used the platform for nearly 2 years now, the fact that I only use the winners and losers feature pretty much when I'm bored doesn't say a lot of good things about what this page is trying to achieve in terms of its overall value to the platform as a whole. The other point to note, and it's just something that you can't really get away from, is that the user interface of the DEGIRO trading platform just isn't as nice as the likes of Trading 212. DEGIRO have made very little updates to how the platform looks and feels since I've been an active user for the last 2 years, so I would like to see them modernize the platform a bit more and bring it up to the standard of the likes of Trading 212. The actual investing features are quite limited compared to competitors as well. For example, you can't buy fractional shares, and you also can't create pies or mini ETFs like you can on the likes of Trading 212. As I mentioned a second ago, once you've actually figured out how to use the trading platform, it's fine, but I do think there could be work done to make it more beginner friendly, because it can be quite scary when you log in for the first time. Again, primarily because of that market page. When a beginner investor logs on and sees all those charts and numbers and words and news stories, they're automatically put off or scared from the platform as a whole. So that was my 2021 tutorial and review of the DEGIRO trading platform. I really hope you enjoyed the video here today. As always, if you did enjoy the video, please do let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.